Hi everyone, we are physical therapy students at the College of Staten Island, and for this video series, we're going to be talking about working from home and posture and how we can improve our posture. For this video, we're going to be discussing what posture is. So we always hear about how it's important to have good posture, yet do we actually know what it is? So posture is just basically how you hold your body. This includes when you're sitting up, when you're standing, and when you're lying down. There are different types of posture. So good posture, as you can see on the right, is when your whole body is aligned with each other. So you want your ears to be aligned with your shoulders. You want your shoulders to be aligned with your hips, and you want your hips to be aligned with your ankles. Then there are other postures that aren't so great. So there's sway back, which is when your pelvis is pushed forward. And as a result, it kind of pushes your head forward as well and makes your shoulders rounded. This is commonly seen in pregnant women. Then we have lumbar lordosis. So we typically already have a natural curve at the lower back, but people with lumbar lordosis, they have an excessive curve. Again, this is also seen in pregnant women. Then we have thoracic kyphosis. So we also do have a natural curve at the upper back, but people with thoracic kyphosis, they'll have an excessive curve, which makes the shoulders rounded and gives the appearance as if they're hunchback. And last but not least, we have forward head. Forward head is when your head and your neck, in your neck are being pushed forward to the point where it's past your shoulders. This is also called text neck because it's commonly caused by texting and being on the computer for so long. We're actually going to be discussing forward head more later in this video. So what are some causes of poor posture? Slouching while sitting down is a very common one because we're constantly on our computers, and that's kind of leads us to be in a more hunched position while we're on the computer. Using our phone, same thing. We're always looking down, which kind of causes our shoulders to be rounded forward. Then there's whiplash. This is when our neck is being pushed forward rapidly or pushed back. This is common in a car accident. Improper sleeping position. This is when we're kind of sleeping in an unusual position, like our neck is in a different way, or if we're using not enough pillows or too much pillows. This can eventually lead to poor posture. Stress. This is when we're stressed out, our body tends to tense up and tighten up. When you're stressed for a long period of time, it's really hard to get back to that relaxed state, and as a result, it's hard to get back to a good posture. And last but not least, carrying a heavy bag. So when we're carrying a heavy bag, we're putting so much load on our back that it's forcing us to go into this rounded position.
All right, so with the pandemic that's been going on, people have had to adopt and change the working environment that they're used to. So people are now working from home more. And what this does is causes it has its advantages, like you're able to be at home, like if you wanted to eat and make food and do whatever it is that you wanted to do at home, you have that opportunity. But some of its disadvantages is that it ends up affecting the individual's posture. So at home, the person might have a less than optimal workstation. So at the different jobs and like works that the individual might have had, like they might have had a properly set up workstation that they were able to use. So now with being at home, like you have to adjust and adapt to working in different environments. So you can be on your bed or on the couch. And what this does is you're no longer able to have like that properly set up workstation. So you also end up spending a longer period of time sitting. So you're not getting up to go get water or get up to like go use the bathroom. So you end up sitting in an improper posture for a long period of time. So you adopt poor posture. And this could be due to, like I mentioned earlier, slouching on the couch to watch TV or even play video games, or hunched over on the computer while you're doing your work. And over time, what happens is that you increase the likelihood of developing a forward head posture, which is essentially, like we mentioned earlier, we have that line that goes from the head all the way to the ankle. So the head ends up getting pushed forward way past the shoulder. So this increases the demand that's placed on some of the neck, the head, the upper back muscles. And what this does is it causes something called muscle imbalance, where some muscles get shortened and some muscles get lengthened. And if the muscles are not at the length that they're supposed to be, this can also end up causing more problems to arise in the future. Next.
So as we previously mentioned, forward head posture can cause muscle imbalances. So there are some muscles that are going to be shortened and tightened in this position, meaning they're going to be overworked. This includes the suboccipital muscles. Those are located at the back of our head, near our neck. The chest muscles, which are our pecs, which are located at our chest. The levator scap, that's located at the back of our neck to the side. And our upper trapezius, or our upper traps, that is located at our upper back. Then there are going to be muscles that are lengthened and weakened. Basically, they're not being used because we're in this position. This includes our deep cervical flexors. Those are the muscles that help us bend our neck forward. Our rector spinae, that is located at our spine and helps us keep us up. And our middle trap, that's the middle of our back. And last but not least, our rhomboids, which are near the shoulder blades and bring our shoulder blades close together.
Okay, and then some implications of a forward head is, we mentioned rounded shoulder. So being in a rounded posture and having rounded shoulder causes the muscle imbalance that we mentioned earlier. And the person can also end up, and the muscles can also end up getting things that are called trigger points. So these are just, it's like an area of the muscle that becomes irritable and sensitive from like the constant stress. And with the trigger points, it can end up being painful at the specific points where they're located, or they can do something called referred pain, where it's like it's located at a specific area, but it refers pain to other areas of the body. And these referred pain, the individual can perceive it as a headache. So there's also neck pain and chest pain, and this can also be due to those trigger points. So the trigger points that's located in the specific neck muscles or the specific chest muscle. So it causes tension from the muscles that are being overworked. So you have muscles that are picking up the slack of other muscles that are not able to do their job. And this can end up causing the individual pain in their neck or their chest. Okay, so some other deficiencies or of poor sitting posture are that you have a misaligned spine. So our spine is supposed to have a specific type of curvature to it. So you being in a poor posture ends up messing those curvatures. And one of the things that are affected is that you have an increased pressure that's put on the spine's intervertebral disc. And what this does is it acts as a way to absorb shock for the body. So if there's an increased pressure that's placed on these discs, what happens is it decreases their shock absorption capabilities, and they're not able to do their job properly. So there's also muscle strain. So like we said, you get muscle lengthening and shortening in different parts of like the upper back. This can also happen in the lower portion. So what ends up happening is that the person starts to complain of low back pain due to muscles being lengthened and shortened in the back area as well. So there's also an improper positioning of the hands and the wrist. So you having to do the back and forth motion of typing, this can put stress on your wrist, and this also increases the risk of the individual developing something called carpal tunnel syndrome from the constant back and forth motion of the wrist. So there's also respiratory issues. So the diaphragm, which is a muscle that's used for breathing. So if you're in a slumped up position, the diaphragm is not at its optimal length, so then the person is not able to use it, and it ends up getting affected by you being in that position for a prolonged period of time, because now it's not able to do its job, and you're also having to recruit muscles that may not have like the right capabilities as the diaphragm to then use for breathing. So that ends up being another issue that arises. Okay, so how to fix, like we said, this is part of a series. And for the other videos that will come up in the playlist of after this video is going to touch more on the ergonomics, essentially having a properly set up workstation. It's also going to touch up on stretches and exercises that can be done to help the individual alleviate and combat some of the issues that may have been arising from having to work from home more. And that's it.